certain circumstances professionally, certain people in my life made me lose my self-esteem and confidence completely. I create content so that people can see me and see what I talk about and my values, so that they trust me to book a call with me. I'm always dropping gyan here and there, right? Somebody complains about this and I'll be like, oh, you know what, you have to do this, you have to set boundaries, you have to build your this. Or I'm always like dropping, just like
coaching language.
Without even thinking about it. It's just become me, right? When I was building back up, I started feeling so empowered, so happy, so invincible.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Dhairya Decodes YouTube channel, and you are joining us for yet another episode of the Career Development Series with another amazing guest, Ayushi Mathur. She is a owner of a marketing agency. She is also a certified communication and life coach and an NLP practitioner. I cannot wait into getting into the conversation with her about how you can actually develop a career as a life coach. So Ayushi, a lot of the people here and the viewers here, different students and working professionals, definitely want to take up different career paths today, right? And that's what they primarily follow this channel for. And it's so interesting to know that today you can actually practice, becoming a life coach and pursue it as a professional career. And I really want you to share all the insights that you have, because you've, actually taken on this path and you're doing so well, so that they can get some insights on this. So welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here, and I'm excited, equally excited to talk about this, because I believe I've never actually talked about life coaching as a career ever before on content.
Oh wow, that's wonderful. So then this is exclusive for the first time. Okay, perfect. Before we get into the conversation, we've never had a chat about this, so I'm also going to get to know this for the first time. So when you talk about somebody who's a life coach or someone who's a communication coach, right? The word coach is something that's used quite a lot, but I want to understand what was that one peculiar incident, point of time in your life when you realized that, oh, you know what, I want to do this and pursue it as a career, and this is something that I genuinely like. When did you realize that?
It wasn't one point, but a culmination of multiple events that led to it.
Right.
What happened was, I have always been confident and I've always wanted to be a speaker.
Correct.
But the thing is, certain circumstances professionally, certain people in my life made me lose my self-esteem and confidence completely.
Okay.
So in 2020, I decided to set a hard boundary towards everyone who was, mean to me, demeaning me, or anything like that. Anything that would bring me and my self-worth down.
Correct.
And when I started to do that, I had to build back up, because in 2020, not because of COVID, but because of these life events, it just overlapped with lockdown. I had completely lost my confidence, completely lost my self-esteem. I hit rock bottom in terms of how I felt about myself.
Correct.
And then I started building back up, little by little.
Right.
And when I was building back up, I started feeling so empowered, so happy, so invincible.
Yeah.
Then 2021, 2022 was the time when I started to share whatever I learned in my own journey with other people without becoming a coach professionally yet.
Right.
So I started talking to people, I started helping a lot of people. A lot of my friends, colleagues, family members would come to me naturally and just ask about their problems in life and different places they were struggling with.
Right.
And I found myself helping them and really enjoying helping them. So then I looked into many different careers. I looked into getting a master's in psychology. I looked into different certifications. And then I met some people who had done the certifications that I do now have.
Correct.
And then, I spoke to a lot of people about it and then just enrolled and made it a profession. Yeah.
That's so wonderful. And the fact that you said that you had come to a point wherein you had lost all of that confidence, that inner strength to kind of believe that, you are obviously worth something. That's just because certain people put you down, and then you made it a point that you drew that boundary there, and you didn't kind of let anybody intervene in that space. And then you made it a point, you got back up. And it's so beautiful to see that you found joy in helping other people with their problems. And now it's your full-time profession. So that's wonderful. On that note, actually, so when you think of something like, again, becoming a life coach, people look at it as a very generic term. Now, being a career coach myself, to be very honest, I don't exactly know still myself. Let's say what kind of skills, etc. would you need to become like a life coach? Who can make for a good life coach, right? So according to you, because you've been doing this now and you're certified, I want to understand, just in your personal opinion, what top 3 skills should somebody possess to be able to become a life coach?
Okay. So the first thing a good life coach, a great life coach actually has is empathy.
Yeah.
And it has to be functional empathy. It shouldn't be the empathy that brings you down also every time you watch your client cry, because there are so many sessions that I've had where the client breaks down.
Right.
But I have to hold the fort in that moment. Of course, I do emulate their emotions, but I can't start crying.
Yeah, you can't.
Right?
Correct.
So you have to have the functional empathy, right? So empathy is very, very important. And people think that empathy is something you're born with or something you get because of traumas in your life. All that might be true to some extent, but empathy is something, it's a skill that you can develop also.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And that brings me to the second skill, because that will help you build empathy also, is active listening. Right? And active listening doesn't mean that you're just nodding and listening to whatever the other person is saying. Active listening means you're inquisitive about them, you're asking follow-up questions, you're genuinely interested, and you're also listening to what they're not saying.
Yeah.
So non-verbal cues.
Correct.
Right?
Makes sense.
So somebody might be telling you a lot of times this happens in my sessions, that a client would come up to me for, let's say, time management only, right?
Okay.
That, okay, help me manage my time better.
Yeah.
But slowly and steadily with the right kind of questions, because I'm listening to them, it leads to self-esteem issues and family issues and this and that, which they didn't even think they wanted to discuss.
Yeah.
So second is active listening for sure. And then third is patience.
Wow.
Because while some clients will actually be an open book and share very openly, but some clients will be full of I don't knows. You ask them, they'll be like, I don't know. I don't know. They'll keep saying that, and that can get really frustrating. But you need to have the patience to keep pivoting your questions in a way that they end up opening up to you.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think that is so beautifully put, and I can resonate to some bit of it. Being a career coach, it happens so many times when I am asking a student a question, right? What do you want to do? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to go and study in a particular country? And it's always an I don't know, or I have no clue, and then I know it gets very frustrating at that point, but you have to keep your patience. So just to summarize it all, you said that for you, the number 1 skill is empathy, right? Because you have to be able to emulate their emotions, but still not get taken aback by it, and be there in the moment and help them. Second, you said active listening, right? Because that is extremely important, and the most important bit is, it's not just saying, yeah, I agree with you and resonating with somebody, but actually reflecting on that and being curious to take the conversation forward. And the third one that you mentioned is patience. So I think anybody who wants to become a life coach, take a note of these 3 skills, because you'll really need them. So Ayushi, now that the viewers also know a little bit about the top 3 skills, according to you, that somebody needs to become a life coach, I think the most important question that I also wanted to ask you is, because a lot of people ask me this, clients, students, working professionals, that how do you call yourself a career coach? Or how are you a career coach or a career counselor? I mean, at least in a city like, a country like India, the most important question is always a proof of work, something to build trust, right? Which is, how do you say that you are something or claim to be that? So I want to understand that if somebody wants to become a life coach, firstly, how important is it to have a certification? That's the first bit of the question. And the second bit is, if it is really essential and you really can't do without it to be able to practice professionally and make it a career, then what kind of certifications do you think would essentially help someone? And if you could give some recommendations in the ones you did.
Sure. So you're absolutely right. We all get these questions that what makes you the authority, right? To do this kind of work. And before I got certified, I did have not much, but a couple of people asked me that why are you talking about this? Where is this coming from?
Correct.
The thing is, a lot of people now on social media are calling themselves coaches, right? While I'm completely, and this is all my personal opinion, what I'm going to share with you, while I'm completely okay with people calling themselves leadership coaches or career coaches or anything which is a practical skill, if you don't have a certification, you call yourself that through experience, great. Keep doing that. You don't necessarily need a certification.
Right.
However, life coach, right, is very, very similar to therapy. It's not the same modules, of course, they're different, but still, when you call yourself a life coach, people reach out to you with much deeper problems. I have clients who have traumas like abuse and abandonment and so many things, right? So if I didn't have the right toolkit to help them, it's so much power that a coach holds.
Too much of responsibility.
Too much power and responsibility. So imagine if somebody does not have the right toolkit, they might mess up the client even more, right? And I've seen this happen. And I've seen this happen in people close to me, right? Who've gone to a professional who calls themselves a professional but does not have the right toolkit, does not have the right way to manage something. And they have really pushed them onto the path of more destruction rather than rather than healing them.
Correct.
So, which is why I do really believe that if you want to be a life coach, specifically, anything to do with mental health, anything to do with life decisions and overall emotional well-being, you should get a certification.
Right.
Now, one of the biggest certifying bodies in the world is called ICF, right? International Coaching Federation.
Correct.
There are a lot of different institutes in the world which give you ICF certification. They are ICF accredited, and then you can do the certification with them, and then you learn all those. But then you have to be, again, very, very careful when you're picking out these institutes. Spend a lot of time talking to their staff. That's what I did.
Okay.
I spoke to, I think, 3 or 4 academies before I chose mine. And I spoke to in some places I spoke to the founders also. In some places I spoke to the sales team and the staff and the support team and all that. And I did back and forth for like 2 months with all these people. And they were all, price-wise, they were all comparable. 10,000-15,000 here and there. ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं था, लेकिन फिर भी, what convinced me to go with the academy that I chose, it's called Coach Transformation Academy, that they understood my language. They understood how I needed to be spoken to, what kind of fears I had before enrolling, and they suit that. So if somebody has so much patience to do that for you, that means they do teach it also in their courses, right? And that's their company ethics.
Correct.
So, and I don't regret it. I've done 3 courses with them, the same place I did my NLP also later. And their mentors are amazing. And this is, of course, not sponsored, but I just love them so much.
Just clarifying, it's not.
It's not sponsored, but they have really changed my life. The mentors there are world class, honestly. And a lot of times when I'm coaching, right, and I reach a spot where I'm like, I don't know if I'll be able to help this person. This is such a tough spot to be in. In my head, I think of my mentor. What would she do, or what would she say?
That's so nice.
And it really helps me move ahead. So it's called Coach Transformation Academy. If anybody wants to look up.
Sure. And all of the certifications you did, you're saying are from there. Most of them.
So my level 1 of certification of life coaching, level 2 also, and my NLP also.
And how many levels are there? Like
3 levels.
There are 3 levels. Oh wow! So you've done 2 of them already. That's wonderful. So guys, I think we've got a lot of insights on how you can actually go about choosing the right academy for yourself. Because obviously ICF is there as a parent body and an institution, but they've got different accredited institutions that provide that training to you. And I really love the way Ayushi mentioned that she actually spoke to the staff members and all the relevant people and POCs before making that decision. That too, a back and forth for 2 months, because only then can you're actually getting trained at the right place, and then you can create an impact in somebody else's life. So I think kudos to you for that. And so coming on to the next thing that I really want to also know is that now you've been obviously practicing this for a while, you've completed 2 levels, and I'm sure you've dealt with a good number of clients, and everybody comes with different problems. But how do you actually go about the process? Let's say now I get certified as a life coach. I want to just start practicing, right? But like, what do you do? How do you market yourself, brand yourself? How do you get clients? What is the process like to even professionally start working with people and convince them that, yeah, I can help you and this is what I do professionally?
So one advantage I had was that I've already been in content for a while.
Right.
And I run a marketing agency. So I have the support system that I need. If I need my website designed or if I need my video edited, all that I do in-house. My team is able to do. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it without a team also. But the key here is content, right? Number one that you can do to get more clients is create content. You have to show yourself or build yourself as the authority in that domain, right? So you'll have to make videos, you'll have to write blogs, do multiple different types of content, LinkedIn, like you do, right? And that's where you fetch clients. So that's where people will look at you.
Correct.
But numbers don't count here, right? I'm at around, I think 40,000 right now. But my friend who I met yesterday is also a life coach. She's at 700 or something followers, but she still gets clients because her content is really good. Right? So people are following her because they resonated with what she said in the video.
Sense,
So you really have to start making content, not worry about numbers. Oh, I'm not at 100,000, how will I attract? Start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. That is one. Second is you have to, just like any other business, I know life coaching is a very, very beautiful way of helping people, but don't forget it's also a business for you. It's also a revenue generating source, right?
Correct.
What a lot of coaches when they start out do is that, oh, but how can I charge money? Oh, but how can I make it a business? I just want to help people. But how can you help people if you don't help yourself? Right? So if you're not making money, you're not going to be, obviously I do a lot of pro bono hours also. And in ICF, you're required to do it. So 25% you have to do pro bono hours. I do more than that depending on if the person is not able to afford. But the thing is, if I don't charge a chunk of my on my clients, right, then even I'm not going to be that dedicated as a coach to keep improving my own skills, right? Because there's no return coming out. So, which is why the second thing is, tell everyone you do this. Whoever you meet at a party, at an event, your relatives, tell everyone about it. And this is something I've learned from my mom, because even before I say it, if she's there, she'll say it. She'll tell people, oh, she's a life coach. So you have any problems, come to her, right? She does that. So, and that's what I do also now. So talk everywhere. Even if you don't have an established social media right now, keep telling into your groups, right? Keep telling them. Your first clients, whatever business you're in, will always come from your own inner circle and the circle of your inner circle.
I agree. It's always the friends and family, the FNF, mostly. No, I think spot on. Like, as you mentioned, you have to obviously have some presence on social media. Now, which platform somebody picks, I think, is a very personal choice. I've been seeing your content on Instagram for a while, and I think it's always been super helpful, very, very practical with respect to what you practice and preach, rather. And I think that's how, obviously, every day you're reaching X number of new people. And you never know, one out of those X number of people needs your help. And then they reach out to you ultimately for a consultation call. So I think that's obviously a great funnel. And like you said, you have to tell people wherever you're going, an event, a party, a conference, this is what I do. And because, or else how will people know, right? And I mean, you have to create your own personal brand yourself. So I think that was very well put as well. So on that note, since we spoke about personal branding, we did speak about content creation as well. I'd quickly like to also dive into the other part of things that you do. You create content as well. And I want to understand that how much of what you learned and you have been practicing as a life coach, let's say, has had an impact or has helped you with your content game, or is there any correlation, or are they two very different things and you treat them very differently?
They're not very different. Actually, it's the other way around to what you said. I use content to fuel my business of coaching, right? So I create content so that people can see me and see what I talk about and my values, so that they trust me to book a call with me.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
However, if I talk the other way around, what you asked, through coaching, I've learned so much. And if you hang out with me more often, right, you'll see, and you can talk to my team about it also. I'm always dropping gyan here and there, right? Somebody complains about this and I'll be like, oh, you know what, you have to do this, you have to set boundaries, you have to build your this. Or I'm always like dropping, just like
coaching language.
Without even thinking about it. It's just become me, right? But I do worry now that I'm not able to bring all of my knowledge to content yet. So I'm struggling with that, honestly. Yeah.
So you're saying that it's probably a task for you to translate all of that into content.
Yeah, dude, especially short form content. In like blogs and YouTube videos, I do talk about whatever I want to talk about.
Right.
But let's say Instagram. How do I convince somebody in 60 seconds.
60 to 90 seconds.
Yeah, 60 to 90 seconds that you need help, right? Like, or whatever.
It is difficult. No, I do understand that. But yeah, I mean, what I understand is you are currently utilizing content as a funnel or a mechanism for people to figure out and discover that part of you wherein you can help them as a coach, and then go on and book a discovery call or whatever. So I think that's also a great way. And on that note, just a quick question on the content creation bit as well. So when you typically are creating content per se, which is related to topics around life coaching, etc., practices or tools that you utilize, have you, I don't know, been able to notice or see a trend in the kind of, or a pattern in the kind of people who consistently, let's say, engage with your content or are following you? Is there a particular category of people who you think really resonate with what you have to say and then go on to follow you? Or do you think it's a general, a huge mass of people just following you? What do you think, it's very categorized?
I would say that it's definitely not massy. My content is not for the masses.
Agreed.
It hasn't resonated. Like, otherwise I would have had much more numbers, right?
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, somehow, because of this, and I'll tell you, and people have been telling me this since I was at 5,000 followers also. But I've never had hate. Nobody has ever given me hate.
Yeah.
And I'm so blessed for that, because all the people who do follow me or engage with me or, just drop me DMs or comments also, they're also very empathetic. They're also very, kind. So I feel that in NLP, there's this very important thing that we learn on day one itself. It's called perception is projection.
Perception is projection. That's so powerful.
Yeah. So whatever I'm feeling right now, if I'm feeling that, oh, I'm not looking confident enough, right?
Then you are not going to.
No, and then you are gonna feel that, oh, Ayushi is not looking confident today.
Correct.
Right? Even though I didn't say or do anything about it. So I think that works on mass basis on social media also. That because even though I have been doing a lot of formal content, a lot of business direction kind of communication and stuff, still I try to show my empathetic and kind side on social media as much as possible. And then that's why I never get the hate also that other creators have complained about.
Yeah.
So, and people have told me, oh no, you will get hate when you grow bigger. But I've reached from 5,000 to 40,000 and I haven't seen hate, right? Even till now. And so to answer your question, it's not a category of people I can categorize into, but these are people who are, who have values similar to mine.
Yours.
Yeah.
Because that is exactly what you are perceiving, and then it's being projected onto them, like you said. No, I think that's very wonderfully put, because I'll tell you the reason I asked you this question. Because again, being a life coach and putting the kind of content you put out there, and like you said, it is slightly more complex and sensitive than career problems or any other problem, to be very honest and very openly saying it. So when people come and consume your content, even in that there is a sense of responsibility and in a way where you have to act a certain way so that there's no kind of a misconception or a conflict in any way. So that's the reason I asked that, so that people who would want to create content and use the same mechanism to, attract clients, they could understand what could be the right way probably to go about it. So thank you for that answer.
Yeah.
So I think, Ayushi, the conversation so far has been really insightful, eye-opening, and I'm sure that there are a lot of value bombs you've dropped for aspiring life coaches. But before we come to an end to this conversation, I have one last question to ask you, right? Now, all the viewers watching this and anybody who probably just gets intrigued by listening to you, right? So let's suppose somebody never even thought that they would want to be a life coach, but they listen to this conversation and they realize it's interesting. So for those individuals, I want to understand from you that how can they actually come to a solid conclusion or know that, okay, life coaching would be the right career path for me and I should pursue this. Like, how can they figure that out? Maybe a roadmap or a few steps or something that they could do.
Like I mentioned earlier also, all careers, and I'm sure you do this since you do this every day, you would know this also, that all the careers that you end up choosing or sticking to for a long time come from you, right? 100%. They are a reflection of your personality. They're a reflection of who you are, what you do on a daily basis. So like I said, that I was anyway for a year helping people, right? Not just a year, for a long time. I've had this, that people would come to me and just start telling me their life problems. Recently also, I was at Big Brain Shoot and there was a new DOP there and I was just standing there, listening to him, and he told me all his life goals and everything, and then he said himself, that, oh, I don't know why I'm telling you all this, right? So if you believe that you have it in you to listen to people and to create a psychological safe space for them, that is very important. If you're able to do that without bringing in your judgment, right? And that is key. That you could tell me anything right now, something very, very bizarre happening in your life. I don't have to attach my world map to it.
Correct.
So, for example, let's say something very simple. You complain about Bombay Autowalas right now, for example, right? But my point of view is that Bombay Autowalas are not bad. They're good only, right? But if it's a coaching conversation, then I have to completely detach from my opinion.
Right.
So if you see that you're able to do that, you're able to actively listen, carry no judgment towards other people when they seek your help, then you should start talking to different academies already. If not academies, start talking to different life coaches who are doing this on a daily basis and just understand what's their day-to-day like, what's happening. Another thing they can do is just go to ICF website and read up a lot about what ICF format is. And as and when you're ready, then you can invest, because it does take a lot of money to get these certifications.
Right.
So and then when you're ready financially as well as emotionally to take that up, then you can start talking to academies.
Right. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. And again, the fact that you said you will have to, it should ideally happen that you will find yourself in certain situations without having a certification or probably pursuing that already. And when you reflect back on it, you're like, I was kind of doing this already and I just needed to probably get more trained and equipped and upskill myself. And most of the times those careers are the ones, like you said, we stick around with and stick to. So I think that was very wonderfully put yet again. And with that, I'd just like to thank all of you for sticking around, viewing this conversation till the very end. If you are an aspiring life coach or you've decided to become one after tuning in to this conversation with Ayushi, then you must check out her content. Do follow her on Instagram, LinkedIn, and you can find her on YouTube as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think those are her 3 active social media channels. I will put them in the description as well. And thank you so much once again. And we'll be back again with yet another new video. Thank you.